Let's look at how to properly prepare the first deck board. We're starting from the deck's right side, so we need to remove the groove wing. To do this, you can make a rip cut along any septum in the board. After making this cut, use a sander and carefully smooth and round off the edge for a uniform look that will blend perfectly with the rest of the deck. Before placing any board, we'll apply sealant along the deck's outermost structural members. DuxxBak recommends using a high-quality sealant like Lexel. This creates a water stop along the deck edge, keeping moisture from seeping under the board. Position the first board with a removed groove wing side, either flush or overhanging the edge of the deck. In our example, we are installing with about a 1-inch overhang. A 3/16 inch gap must be allowed where the end of the board meets the house. The starter and finisher boards are the only place we will need a face screw. Use a 2 1/4 inch or longer screw when attaching through the face. Then use an 1 1/4 inch or longer screw to attach the decking through the fastening wing. We'll start with our longer trim head screws to the face of the board at each joist. You'll want to place the screw near a septum of the deck board to take advantage of the points of strength. Set the screw heads just below the top surface to avoid pull-out and to partially conceal the screw head. It is possible to conceal the heads by gathering the material which has been displaced by the screw on top and tapping with a hammer. Complete the installation of the first board by inserting an 1 1/4 inch or longer trim screw through the fastening wing at each joist. Insert the screw at a 55 to 60 degree angle. Do not use composite screws, the ones with reverse threads near the top end of the screw. The reverse threads displace too much material, compromising the decking attachment to the structure. Ideally, a screw with a smooth, non-threaded shaft at its top should be used. Make sure the fastener coating is approved for use in your structural material. Stainless steel screws are recommended for use near salt water. To secure the board, DuxxBak composite decking screws or approved equivalent are required. Details are in the installation guide on the website. With the first and each subsequent board, apply a generous glob of sealant into the drainage channel closest to the house to prevent wind-driven rain from being blown backward through the channel toward the house. Then apply a bead of sealant onto the joist nearest the house and at the outer joist. Position the second and subsequent boards by engaging the interlocking grooves of each board to lock the boards together. Remember to allow a minimum of 3/16 inch from the board ends to the wall. Using a 32nd inch gapping tool, secure each board using the prescribed fasteners. The gap between deck boards will allow the deck structure to move without compromising the integrity of the deck surface. For this training video, we are installing our traction finish DuxxBak. It also comes in an armor cap finish. Mounting clips are required for the armor cap DuxxBak. Clips are essential for the armor cap because the capstock material requires additional force to securely fasten the board to the structure, particularly at the ends of the boards. This ensures a stable and durable installation. The DuxxBak mounting clips are designed to uniformly distribute the point load of the screw on the mounting wing and prevent over-penetration of the screw at the ends of the boards where the maximum support is needed. The DuxxBak mounting clip should be centered directly over the joist and the screw installed at a 55 degree angle from horizontal. For boards shorter than 20 feet, a clip must be placed at the last joist on each end. For boards 20 feet or longer, a clip must be installed on each of the last 2 joists at both ends of the board. We will add a wooden railing post to our deck for demonstration purposes. Notch the first and second boards to allow for any obstruction that will penetrate the decking surface. Cut the notches to allow for a clearance of 3/16 inch on all sides of obstructions. Remember to apply sealant to the outermost rim as with every board. After notching the second board, place a continuous bead of sealant into the entire length of the interlocking groove of the second board. Because the railing post will interrupt the channel, any water entering the channel could become trapped without introduction of sealant in the interlocking groove. Make sure to apply a generous amount of sealant into the drainage channel closest to the post to prevent wind-driven rain from being blown backward through the channel. You can then proceed as usual. The rest of the process is the same as with previous boards until you come to the finished board. Since we are finishing on the left side of our deck, we need to prepare the finished deck board properly by removing the water channel. If the final board will overhang the deck, as ours will here in the training video, rip the board back to a septum to overhang the fascia an acceptable distance. As in preparation of the starter board, clean up the ripped edge using a sander. Secure the last deck board to the joist by inserting one trim head screw through the face of the board at each joist. Our next step is to install flashing for the deck and make sure things are sealed. Place a generous continuous bead of sealant on top of the deck boards, approximately 3/4 of an inch away from the house. This sealant will create a barrier to keep wind-driven water from being blown back underneath the flashing. Cut a piece of corrosion-resistant flashing to be installed behind the house wrap membrane and on top of the decking. The flashing should be bent so that when installed, it will naturally compress against the wall and the deck and will shed water away from the house. Install your pre-bent flashing at the house-to-deck connection, holding the flashing tight against the house and sliding it down onto the decking, thereby compressing the sealant installed in the previous step. Be sure that a continuous seal is formed between the flashing and the decking. Secure the flashing to the wall behind the house wrap using a roofing nail, staple, or other appropriate fastener. Secure the house wrap to the face of the flashing using appropriate sealing tape. Install waterproofing butyl tape to the deck board and obstruction at all locations where an obstruction penetrates the deck so that water does not find its way through the deck to the area below. The waterproofing butyl tape will be concealed by the post sleeve and base trim when the rail system is installed. If the railing posts are not sleeved, a trim piece can be created to conceal the butyl tape. Be sure to only fasten the trim piece to the wood post, not to or through the decking. If installing structural railing posts, follow the manufacturer's installation instructions, keeping in mind to seal the interlocking groove if a fastener penetrates through the drainage channel. Also, make sure to apply a generous amount of Lexel sealant around the base of posts and around each fastener head to prevent water penetration. Now it's time to install the end caps. Use this rule to determine end cap direction for DuxxBak. Simply refer to the side of the deck at which you began installation, left or right, and that is the end cap you need to use. Insert the end cap with the drain slots down and the arrow pointing up. End caps can be secured using an adhesive sealant applied to the legs of each cap before insertion. Alternatively, an 1/8" hole may be drilled through the underside of the decking and through two legs of the end cap, into which a No. 6 by 1 inch pen head screw can be placed. That's it. Once you install your rail system, you are ready to enjoy your new deck.